Hey everyone, welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about tools for your arsenal. This topic is definitely taken a turn over the last couple of years for me in terms of what I thought I would need versus what I'm actually going to need or working on and things I might want in the future. When I first started working towards learning Python and security and getting into security, I learned about a lot of different offensive tools, and I'll talk about a couple of books in a minute that I purchased along the way. In the meantime, over the last couple months, if you've been watching the previous videos on PowerShell obfuscation, it definitely got me the interest in writing some defensive tools as well. A couple of years ago, around there, I started working on a tool at a previous company I was at that would gather domain reputations for emails. And this is kind of the first one I put together almost from scratch, that I didn't have necessarily a book guiding me. I just looked around the internet for different things. Hadn't had much experience using an API or how they work or what to gather out of them. So this tool in particular, I made called domain reputation. So long story short, you'd send a query to for a domain, and it would pull data from VirusTotal and Cinderbase. You know what? A few things I've learned along the way. Really important stuff like not putting your API key in GitHub, which thankfully I was smart enough to do because I watched others make the mistake. Not to say that I probably made a few bad mistakes along the way with some of my code, but anyway, this is one of the first tools I worked on that was at a job where I needed to solve a problem or make something easier about my job, and actually building a useful tool. So this, and with all these obfuscation, all the PowerShell obfuscation stuff I've worked on in the last couple months and reading more about it, I was thinking, wouldn't it be cool to just provide a text file or some input and get the same thing? So that's one of the tools I'm going to be working on along the way. In the meantime, what I'm going to do with this tool is make it Python 3 compatible. I'm not a Python developer by day as a full-time occupation, and considering that and how I'm kind of starting to learn most of what I'm learning on Python 3, I figured why not rewrite this tool in Python 3. So that'll be one of the first things I'll be working on, is updating this code. The next thing I'll work on, of course, will be some of the tools involving deobfuscation of different payloads. With that, here's some of the books I've read. So as I was learning Python, I picked up some books that seemed of interest and I got recommended to by the community. And the first one, we'll save that for last. But this first one I saw, it's called Understanding Network Hacks. Ignore the sticker. Let's see who's the author. Bastian Ballman. So this book was interesting in the sense that I learned a lot about, it taught some basic things about Python, and then before you even write your first program, it's like 4 chapters in, it explains how a packet works, there's explanation of the sockets. That being said, though, I did notice some things in this tool, or in this book in particular, where there are a lot of other tools like used for Wi-Fi attacks or HTTP hacks. A lot of different things. The first couple tools you'll build, of course, are network-based. So, considering that I'm studying for OSCP, most of the stuff I'm looking for is more of network-based. And as I started reading through thumbing through these books, like Violent Python, and then my personal favorite, the Black Hat Python book, which I learned a lot from, I kind of noticed the tools came in one of two categories for me, where it's something that I could apply directly to what I'm learning for OSCP in terms of the labs, or other labs like Hack the Box, maybe some stuff on Pentester Lab. And then there's the other half of this is more of the quote-unquote advanced stuff, where I'm not necessarily going to just limit it to a lab, where it's something I can use in day-to-day, like if I'm working in an environment, doing an attack, wanting to build my own burp suite extension, things like that. So I won't get into as much into the post OSCP stuff as I'll refer to, until I start finding a need for it. In the meantime, I'll be updating the basic offensive tools I have, and then working on some of the updating my code for Python 3. So the first thing I'll work on right away will be this one right here, the domain reputation one. Let's see. We're going to make this bigger. So this will be the first tool we'll work on, is getting this up to date and making it run a lot better, or at the very least working on Python 3. The next thing I'll do is I'll be focusing on tools in this repository, and more than likely once it's working I'll move it in here. So this working tools repository, this one, there's the tools that are in here I'd either already used before, like there's a banner grabber tool I put together a while back, and all of this is just do a simple banner grab. And some of these were used from were written from other books like Black Hat Python, for instance, this Netcat tool. This is mostly out of Black Hat Python, but I ended up getting it working. So I moved it over to this repo. So the tools that I've tested and know actually work, I'm going to move here. And then what I'm going to do is, as I add and build more stuff for this arsenal, I'll be moving stuff in there and getting it working in Python 3. So with that, that's all I have for tools right now. If you're watching this at its newest, it's right before Black Hat and DEF CON, so I've got much packing and stuff to do. In the meantime, I will see you on the other side. Cheers.